This video describes the very powerful file sharing capability of the NeoVistor and CloudBox service. When you come into your nCloudbox account, you come in Home View that you see here, but to share files, you want to be in File Manager mode. So we'll click there. Brings up all your files in alphabetical order. Select one or many. Doesn't have to be just one file, it can be several. For this case, we'll just do the one. Say share this. Click on that button. Brings up all your existing contacts. Now what's going to happen when you share a file by this service is that it's going to send an email to the contacts that you've shared this file with. These contacts can be NeoVistor and CloudBox subscribers or not. They don't have to be. If they are a subscriber, they're going to get an email saying that you've shared this file or files, along with any descriptive information or anything that you want to say to them that's added that you type into this area. So we can select one of these accounts. Now, if neotest01 at ymail.com happens to be an nCloudbox subscriber, and we know that by their email address, then the email will just say, you've shared this file, and here's the text that you added to it. If they're not an existing nCloudbox subscriber, then the email will also grant them a temporary user ID. Their email address will be that user ID, and it'll generate a password that they'll have to remember because it's not changeable, and they will be granted temporary sign-on capability into your nCloudbox account using that name and that password, and at that point they can view and download the file and files that you have shared with them. They can't upload, they can't change, they can't delete. They can only download and view the file that you've shared with them. So we're going to go ahead and say share for this one account at this point. Now if I go back to that account and I use the dynamic menu here, say let me see the share profile for this file. Now this tells me that I've got this file currently shared with just one user, and it shows me a couple attributes about it. There's an expiration date potential and a delete potential. When I shared the file, what I did was established a relationship between the Chrysanthemum JPEG file on my nCloudbox account and this fellow nCloudbox user. We'll assume that here. But I can terminate that relationship by clicking delete. When I click this delete, I'm not deleting the Chrysanthemum JPEG file from my nCloudbox account. I'm deleting the relationship between this user, this contact, and that file. I can also delete that relationship by setting a date. That's the last day that they can use this. So let's just pick the end of January here. Set that. Now, as of the end of January 2011, neotest01 at ymail.com will no longer be able to see this shared file. Now, I can also, at this point, share it with another user. I could add a whole contact right here. It's very simple. Matter of fact, let's do that. Let's add info at neovistor.com. So okay, that's all it takes to add a whole new contact. So I'm going to share this with them and with them as well. Two for the price of one. Say share to selected. Now we stayed in the same share profile dialog. We see that, oh, okay, this has come up now and showed me these two new users. I can also put a expiration date on this relationship. Bring up the calendar. In this case, I'll make it the end of February. Say set it. And leave this relationship without an expiration date. That's all fine. Close it. So that's one file. I could share many files exactly the same way. And there's yet a third way to share files with the NeoVistor and CloudBox service. And that's, again, click on the dynamic menu, go over here to this View Published URLs capability and click on it. Now, as most folks know, a URL is a uniform record locator. It's the actual location of that file. It's currently not published. We're going to click on Publish it to a URL. So this is the actual location of that file. When I move my cursor to it, it becomes highlighted. You may not be able to see that clearly on the video, but I'm going to right-click it because I'm using Windows, and click on the Windows dialog Copy shortcut. That's now got this entire thing in my clipboard menu. I'm going to close this, go back into normal view here. I can now take that URL that I've got on my clipboard, go to my email program, send an email to whomever I want, telling them, hey, you can go view this chrysanthemum JPEG by clicking on the enclosed URL that's appended to this message. That's a feature of the very powerful file sharing capability of the NeoVistor and CloudBox service.